What's up, guys? JK Disc here, and today I'm going to be talking about what I believe is the most underrated distance driver of all time. You hear people talking about the Destroyer, the Zeus, all these fast, overstable discs, but a lot of the times they can't actually get full flights out of them because they're just a tad bit too overstable. But this is the most touchiest range of disc, I think. Guys, I have a Wraith, too flippy. Destroyer, maybe be a tad too overstable, but there's just not that one middle disc. Until I recently discovered it. Bombs. We'll go with the small hyzer. Well, hit the basket out of bounds. That's cool, I guess. So what's this mystery disc that I think is the perfect distance driver for a lot of disc golfers that really are using a little bit too overstable discs? That disc is the Infinite Discs Emperor, guys. We've seen players like Garrett Gerthy be able to mash the thing. Kona Panis, awesome female disc golfer, mashes this thing. And honestly, I did not have high hopes for this thing at all. Infinite Disc sent me it in just a normal package, and I just thought, you know what, this is just going to be a regular Destroyer. That was not the case. I was able to get this thing to give a massive full flight out of a nice hyzer flip line. Now, Destroyers, I can get to hyzer flip, but they're still fading out too early. The Emperor, I can get this thing to go 25 to 50 feet longer than my Destroyer. And I just was so surprised after the first flight to be able to just put this thing on hyzer, let it flip up, get turn, and just massive S-lines out of it. It's just the perfect middle disc between a Destroyer and a Wraith. And I'm using those two discs as a comparison because I bag both Wraiths and Destroyers. The numbers on this is a 12, 6, -1, and 3. So really the only difference between this and a Destroyer is the one extra bit of glide, and that's all that's needed to throw just a little bit farther, to get a little bit more turn. And I think that the results are pretty noticeable. I think that through the past few videos, if you guys have been watching, I've been able to get this thing out to easily more turn, easily more distance, and just from being able to experience the disc over the past few months, I've been easily getting up there more to the 450, 470 range. I've even thrown this disc 498 feet. And that's no joke. I was playing at Canyons one day, and I just a little bit of a left to right wind, so it helped me hyzer flip a little bit, and this disc just 498 feet. No joke. It's on my Instagram. I measured it out. I mean, it was with UDisc, so give it a little grain of salt, I guess. But this thing bombs. You can tell right there. Now let's compare that flight to a Destroyer. Probably put on a little bit too much hyzer, but as you can tell, it didn't flip over. Now let's compare it to a Wraith. As you can tell, these three discs, very similar numbers, 3 different flights. Now that being said, with the 3 different flights, which one is going to get you the most distance? And obviously, it's the one right in the middle, the one that doesn't fade out too early, and the one that doesn't turn and burn. So obviously, I don't think that evidence is going to be a clear deciding factor on every disc golfer ever, that the Emperor is just the superior disc. Of course not. Honestly, it might just be because of my arm, but my arm, I think, is a lot of the time the average arm for intermediate players. That distance that I get and the power I get is very similar to a lot of players throwing Destroyers where they're kind of just not really at that level yet. They convince themselves in their mind. Trust me, I've been in this position before where I just say Destroyers are my disc, no doubt. But as soon as I started turning to the Emperor, the sooner I got more and more distance. Let's do a little distance competition to really see what disc I'm going to be able to throw the farthest. First up, we'll go with the Emperor. Not my best throw ever, but it's out there. Then we'll go Destroyer. Again, not my best throw. And also, this is a Destroyer that I just brand new, very little thrown, rookie Destroyer. Lastly, we'll go Wraith. Time to measure. First throw, the brand new Destroyer. 405 feet, give or take, or 406, but give or take 16 feet. Now the Emperor, 460 feet. There you go. And then the Wraith was in line just a little bit more to the right. Another Emperor shot, 457. Guys, I can't make this up. The Emperor really is outdriving my other max distance drivers by upwards of almost 50 feet. I really believe that the Emperor is that perfect middle disc for a lot of the intermediate players stuck at a little bit of one distance. It's either the Destroyers are just holding them back for fading a little bit too early, or the Wraiths are just turning and burning. The Emperor is that perfect middle slot, not only for distance, but control. Because honestly, if you could take out 15 feet and be able to put a disc in the perfect spot, you'd rather have that than being able to throw a little bit farther and not be able to know where that disc is. And like I've proved, the Emperor is the perfect middle disc between the Destroyer and the Wraith. It's not going to fade too early. It's not going to turn and burn. The Emperor literally is, in my eyes, the perfect distance and control distance driver that is so underrated. I hardly ever hear anyone throwing the Emperor, and I think that needs to change. So guys, if you really are trying to find a new distance driver to give you max new distance, please check out the Emperor. You will not be disappointed. Too easy with the Emperor. I'm telling you guys, the Emperor does not get talked nearly as much of a disc as good as. We've seen pros throw it, but we need to see more intermediate players throw it. Because I really think that if more people who are throwing like 420-ish on their max distance with the Destroyers will be able to get this disc even farther. And I want people to do that. I want to see people be able to throw farther. And I think the Emperor is that disc that's perfect for everyone. I really do. Hopefully it doesn't sound like I'm just giving out propaganda for the Emperor, but I really personally believe that this disc is the perfect disc for a lot of the intermediate players. Like, look, it doesn't get easier than that. Too far. I really think the Emperor is that disc that's going to kind of transition intermediate players to throwing far to really far. I think it's a step up from the Destroyer on distance wise, and I think it's a good disc for when beginners start to transition into the higher speed discs. It's really that perfect disc. I genuinely believe that, guys. But if you enjoy the video or you throw an Emperor, make sure to drop a like, guys. Subscribe if you haven't already, hit the bell so you get notifications on all the new videos, and as always, guys, make sure to keep throwing. Big thanks to everyone who's supported JK Disc Golf over on Patreon. You guys are the reason that this video is possible. If you want to help out JK Disc Golf even more, head over to www.patreon.com/JK Disc Golf or click the link in the description below.